when we talk about diversity and inclusion and exclusion, jails can be such a site of perpetrating even more layers of injustice. So on that note, I would like to invite Advocate Susan Abraham. When I asked Advocate Susan to write an introduction for herself, she defines herself as Mad Woman of Mahakali. But she is anything but a mad woman. She is, I think, one of the sanest people who has brought a lot of defense committees, people, many platforms together. She was formerly a journalist. She fought a case over her unjustified dismissal, and she actually fought that case, if I am correct, for 30 years and managed to win the case with the support of other people in the union that she was with at that time. And she has been on the Bhima Koregaon Defense Committee. And one of her identities is also that she is the wife of activist Urban Naxals. But I think Advocate Susan has her main contribution to everything has been to be such a great facilitator and communicator of. She has this natural ability to just understand what people want and just facilitate a smooth kind of sort of interaction, which I feel is a gift, and not many people are able to do that. And I also, of the few people I have seen, I think Advocate Susan is one person with whom everyone gets along well. So that's actually a talent that we should all learn from. So,
thank you for that introduction, and to the panelists who have given a very broad, this whole, people just can't believe that this has happened, that Sai Baba is no more. In the sense that all that he went through while he was in jail, it was that a catastrophe is imminent, that his death, his medical condition was so severe that it was a constant stress for all the lawyers who were handling the matter, that something untoward should not happen. But I would say this was Sai Baba's victory against the system, that he refused to die in their custody. But the fact that as soon as he came out, it became very clear and obvious to what extent his health had deteriorated, and what happened in terms of the sudden death. It was so sudden that really people just could not believe that this, it was a constant question, has this really happened? And all of us saying this to ourselves. Some of the people, we didn't even get a chance to meet him. We wanted to meet him, we wanted to spend some time with him, so he went away so fast. But I would say that he stuck to the challenge to the system by refusing to die in their hands. So I think this was his determination, but at the same time, it weakened him tremendously. Otherwise, as he said, Gayatri said, no one dies after a gallbladder operation. But the complication that happened, the infection that he developed, the body, he could not survive that. So that's the suddenness with which his life was lost. So many people have come forward, have sent messages, outpourings of grief, condolence, and it's in that atmosphere that today this meeting is actually being held, in the sense that there was a plan to have a bigger meeting, a hall meeting with more speakers, but this had to also happen to express this grief which is being felt throughout the country. So it's a very unique outpouring in a sense which we hope will give that kind of sustenance to his family, Vasanta and his daughter, as well as the people he has worked with. You know, it's all happening all over. So I have to give a little background as to how this whole building up of a case like this, it's so unbelievable that 6 people, there are 3 of them tribals, 3 of them from the urban areas, they are picked up and foisted in a case which happens in what is the heart of, the jungle, you could say, in Maharashtra, in Gadchiroli district. But we see this case as a predecessor to the way the Bhima Koregaon case got built up. That you'll see that connection also. But before that was a case which all of you would find very interesting. Happened when our PM was the CM of Gujarat and the HM was the HM of Gujarat. The UAPA was passed and in 2009 the CPI Maoists gets banned. So would you believe it that the first conspiracy case of this nature which was registered, which used to happen in the time of the British, which has happened when the movement was very strong in Andhra Pradesh. Governor Rao himself, who is amongst us, was one of the accused in one of those conspiracy cases. Was a case which was registered in rural Surat in February 2010. Now, it is the first case which was for purportedly curbing Maoist activity. But has anyone heard of any Maoist activity in the state of Gujarat? This is the big question, isn't it? But this case gets registered in February 2010, and in the FIR, it is Mihir, I'll give you, he asked me for a chart sheet. I haven't had time to give it to him. He can read Gujarati. The time of offence, any time up to 21:30 hours on 25/2/2010. Can you believe that? Any time up till 21 means 9:30 hours on 25th of February 2010. Place of offence, any place in Surat and South Gujarat. Suspects, unknown members of CPI Maoists. Altogether, some 20-25 people have been arrested in this case from different parts of the country. Lifted from Delhi, Hyderabad, Nagpur, Vernon and Sridhar Srinivasan were in jail in Bombay in a case, a foisted case, when they were arrested from Bombay in 2007. So they are the kind of people who are all roped in from different parts of the country. And it includes people like Kobad Gandhi, it includes people like Tushar Bhattacharya, Shoma Sen's husband, trade union activist from Hyderabad, Abdul Shakil from Delhi, Vishwanath from Nagpur. So it's such an omnibus case. So when some of the people who are being interrogated by the then South Gujarat Range Inspector General of Police, Mr. A.K. Singh, who is a favoured police officer who has been taken to Delhi by the current regime, he says this is an innovative preemptive step, registering of FIR before any offence being committed. He said he wanted to show a way. First example of a registration of a thought crime which later gets labeled as urban Naxals, urban Maoists. And the case gets registered under section 38, 39, 40 of the UAPA. Gujarat has no known Naxalite or Maoist activity. So what happens is the Gujarat High Court grants all of them bail within 1 year, within a few months in fact. But the case has still not been tried, has not gone for trial because a lawyer, is a very good criminal lawyer in Surat, Kirit Panwala, felt that it's best to challenge such a fake omnibus case, and that challenge is pending in the High Court of Gujarat. So this was the case, and very soon after this, in 2013, this FIR gets registered in Gadchiroli, Aheri police station. As Mihir said, against 3 people in the beginning, and it ends with a conviction in March 2017 after the arrest of total 6 people. If you were to read that judgment of Suryakant Shinde, which was passed on the 7th of March 2017, where he gives life sentence to 5 of the 6 accused, life sentence, and he gives 10 years to Mahesh Turki, who was arrested with Prashant Rahi. The defense team of lawyers headed by Surendra Gadle had worked on the case day and night with a watertight case for acquittal. However, the ruling dispensation wanted the opposite. So if you go through the 827-page judgment, you would not think it has been written by Judge Suryakant Shinde. It does not read like a reasoned judgment of a district judge, but more like a policy statement of a right-wing government. I will just read out from the last part of that judgment, which says, the situation of Gadchiroli district from 1982 till today is in paralyzed condition, and no industrial and other developments are taking place because of fear of Naxal and their violent activities. Hence, in my opinion, the imprisonment for life is also not a sufficient punishment to the accused, but the hands of the courts are closed with the mandate of section 18 and 20 of UAPA. And in my opinion, it's a fit case to award sentence of imprisonment for life. Had he been given the liberty, he would have given the death sentence. That's what this judge is saying in this judgment. So, and he's actually saying it is this law, this draconian law called the UAPA, which is a hamper on his hands to give them death sentence. So, death sentence not awarded, but 2 people having died. One is Pandu Narote while he is in custody. The other is Sai Baba soon after his release. It of course amounts to a death sentence. So who will be rejoicing? The state will be rejoicing. The people who put activists like Sai Baba behind bars, they will be rejoicing. What they could not achieve by keeping him in prison has happened is what they will be rejoicing about. But I will bring another angle to this. When soon after this judgment, there was a meeting of CDRO, that is the Committee for Democratic Rights Organization in Nagpur in 2017. The meetings of CDRO used to take place in different parts of wherever there were constituent members to plan campaigns and meetings on human rights, democratic rights issues. Constituents were organizations like PUDR, CPDR, APCLC, AFTR, and so it was a regular meeting, and one of the topics on the agenda was to campaign. It was held at the MLA Bhavan in Nagpur, the Ravi Bhavan, a very legit meeting. And one of the issues campaigned for was this life sentence, this sentencing, this conviction, such a judgment which has come out of Gadchiroli, in what way to campaign against it. When this meeting was going on, it was just a one-day meeting. When this meeting was going on, suddenly we hear a commotion outside. What was the commotion? There was a gathering of maybe some 20 to 50 people holding a banner of persons affected by Naxalite attacks and demanding Sai Baba ko Fashi do. This was a chant which could be heard from outside and trying to disrupt this meeting. So this is the what we call the what happened in the Gujarat case, what happened in Sai Baba's case. This regime had smelled blood. They wanted, you could say Gujarat was an experiment. Then came this case, so filled with this fervor of the success, had to be the next, and the next was this case. 2017, the conviction, the judgment in March, and in March 2018, a month later, the entire conspiracy planning in the Bhima Koregaon case has started. Now, as you all know, it's also the Elgar Parishad Bhima Koregaon case, because there are two backdrops to this case. One is the Elgar Parishad, which happened on 31st December 2017, and the whole world knows what kind of violence erupted the next day and who was behind the violence. It was people like Sambhaji and Milind Ekbote. It's openly known, and they have openly claimed that they were responsible for disrupting the march to the Bhima Koregaon for the 200th anniversary of the victory of that battle against Peshwa rule. That was what was being celebrated at the Elgar Parishad. 200 years of victory over the Peshwa rule and to fight against the Navi Peshwai. That was the call given. That was the slogans that rented the air in that meeting of Elgar Parishad at Shaniwar Wada in Pune on 31st December 2017. This was not palatable to the Brahmanical regime, obviously. But the first FIR which was registered was not against those who are behind bars today. It was against Sambhaji Bide, Milind Ekbote, by the people. There is a Anita Savle who filed a zero FIR, which got registered as a FIR CR9 in rural Pune, and he gets arrested. Not Sambhaji Bide, Milind Ekbote gets arrested. He is behind bars for maybe less than 6 months. He goes up to Supreme Court. Supreme Court, the state government files an affidavit which says that he was responsible for the violence. It is the people holding Bhagwa Janda who carried out the attacks against those who were marching to the Bhima Koregaon victory pillar. Despite all this, this was happening even in the Vidhan Sabha. There was a statement given by none other than the Chief Minister, Fadnavis. But the the caucus we call, the coterie which planned this case had a direct link to the Sai Baba case, because there was Suhas Bauchi, who was the IO in the Sai Baba case, who in open court outside the district court in Gadchiroli threatened Surendra Gadli and said, next I will make sure you are behind bars. This was how he was challenged. This is there on affidavit. The lawyers who heard this have filed this on affidavit in the case for release of Surendra Gadli. Ravindra Kadam, who was the chief of anti-Naxal operations in Nagpur, was sitting in Pune when this case was, the conspiracy to set up this case was going on. And none other than Rashmi Shukla, who today is the chief police officer for this government, was also the main police officer in charge of Pune at the relevant time. So this is how this entire case gets, it is a conspiracy. In what way do you target dissidents? Do you target people who raise their voices, who have absolutely no, on the one hand they say there is a Elgar Parishad, there is one FIR registered, two different people are named, there is a second FIR registered on the 8th of January in which people who were on the Manch, they were named for the Elgar Parishad. Nothing happens. That was on the 8th of January. Then we hear in March that there is a new IO, there is this whole entire, from Vishrambagh police station has shifted to ACP, Vishrambagh has shifted to ACP, where the IO, Shivaji Pawar, swings into operation, starts all the, first the raids happen in April, then in May UAPA is added, and in June the arrest happened. So in this bewildered state, if nothing makes sense, you find people who have absolutely no connection with Elgar Parishad. In fact, the only person who was connected to Elgar Parishad who was arrested in June 2018 was Sudhir Dhaule, accused number 1. The others, Rona Wilson, he was part of the CRPP which was set up by Sai Baba. Means he was part of, in Delhi, Committee for Release of Political Prisoners. Surendra Gadli is accused number 3, who was a main lawyer, who was not only fought the case in Sai Baba, but 30 years of experience, had won the acquittals and release of hundreds of innocent people who had been put behind bars as Naxalites, who are tribals, Dalits, and he had earned a name for himself as a leading criminal lawyer. He gets arrested. Shoma Sen, professor, about just 1 month left for retirement, Nagpur, she's from Nagpur, no connection to the Bhima Koregaon, the Elgar Parishad Sabha. She was there in attendance, like lakhs of people were. There were more than 1 lakh people at Shaniwarwala. She gets arrested. Mahesh Rao from Gadchiroli, a TISS alumni, working as his lawyer, argued in court that ye Gandhian principle is go to the villages, and here is a person who comes, gets educated in the city in a premier institute like TISS, but he chooses to go back to his villages in Gadchiroli, and he is basically built up those Gram Panchayat Sabhas for the implementation of rights for the tribals. That kind of a person is arrested. So it soon becomes evident that this has got nothing to do with Elgar Parishad, it's got nothing to do with Bhima Koregaon. What everybody is being accused of is there is some deep Maoist conspiracy, and they are all part of this conspiracy. But what is interesting also is that it's not just the Elgar Parishad which is the backdrop, it is also the Sai Baba case which was the backdrop in this case. There are 4 people who are associated with the release of Sai Baba and the other co-accused who are today accused in this case. Rona Wilson, Surendra Gadling, Varavara Rao, Hani Babu. 4 are there, and 4 more who are part of the Elgar Parishad. That is 8, and 8 others who had absolutely no connect with either. Whether it's Sudha Bhardwaj, whether it is Father Anand Teltumde, Gautam Navlakha. So this template which started in Gujarat, which was expanded in Gadchiroli, has now become this wide of 16 people, and it's still open-ended. There is no closure. There is no filing in the court that our charge sheet is complete. That threat is hanging over everyone's heads. Who is next? That is always a possibility in this kind of a conspiracy case. Anyone and everyone can get dragged in as an accused in some, in this kind of a really Kafkaesque kind of scenario. So, it is a fact that in this case, there are parts of the Sai Baba case charge sheet which has been put as part of the evidence in this case, in the Bhima Koregaon case. Saying what? Saying that the Pune police claim that they studied the Sai Baba case and said that on the basis of evidence seen there, they in March 2018 added conspiracy charges against Surendra Gadling and Rona Wilson, and 14 more were arrested. Is the case. Is the crux of the case. And they have actually put documents from Sai Baba charge sheet as part of the charge sheet in this case. Till the acquittal by the Nagpur High Court, the NIA were using the session judgment as a case related to urban module of CPI Maoists. Now what will happen? Now they have been acquitted. Is this going to get dropped? Are they going to withdraw these charges in this Bhima Koregaon case? These are all the issues people, keep saying discharge applications have been filed, people are arguing on all this. There is no basis. But it has taken a torturous 6 years for 8 people. Out of 8 people, 7 people have come out. 1 has died. 8 people are still behind bars. When the Supreme Court passed the judgment in Vernon and Arun, we felt that all would be out by the end of 2023. Only 1 person has come out, Soma Sen, that too because of medical, her very aggravated health grounds. Only reason, Mahesh Rao, there is absolutely no reason for the Supreme Court to have stayed his bail. He should have been out 1 year back. So this is the manner in which the state has held on to this case. This case is of such vital importance to cling on to make sure that people don't come out. And just as something interesting, I'm concluding. As interesting, I will just share with you something which, while arguing bail matters in the Bombay High Court after this judgment in the Sai Baba case, 2 different matters and 2 different judges, both of them telling the prosecution, have you studied the Sai Baba judgment? Now just look at the bizarre scenario. A High Court judge is in open court telling the prosecutor, public prosecutor, in order to oppose bail of two different people, two different judges saying the same thing. Have you studied the Saibaba judgment? Meaning to find some way of opposing this bail. So a district court judgment becomes a case law higher than a Supreme Court. So this, what does it show? That this judgment came from above. It was circulated amongst all the judges that this has to be the template for deciding bail matters in UAPL cases, and this is precisely the reason why it has taken this long in the Supreme Court for the remaining 8 to get released. But with the acquittal, with all that Sai Baba suffered, all what he has died for, what Pandu Narote has died for, hopefully there will be a let-up, and we will be able to go forth in making sure that maximum number, and that is why this has to lead to a campaign against UAPA for the release of all political prisoners. Thank you very much.
Was this massive number of combing operation across Maharashtra, in which a lot of Dalit homes and Dalit youths were targeted. And in fact, Mihir also was looking at some of those cases, and those cases were similarly like very falsely written, like the name is written of that of a car and unknown people, and all these Dalit youths were terrorized in the background of this violence. So on that note, I would like to invite Sambhaji for his tribute.
मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, साई बाबा का जो देहांत हुआ है, ये तो मतलब इतने सारे डिस्क्रिप्शन वकील लोगों ने दिए हैं, तो एक शब्द में है कि इस देश में रहना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, सांस लेना डिफिकल्ट है। ऐसे सब जब कोई लोग मर जाते हैं, हम लोग आते हैं और जो भी चीजें हुई है इसको दोबारा कहते हैं। आज भी जो लोग जेल में हैं, इनके रिलीज के बारे में हम कुछ करते नहीं। मुझे लगता है अभी जब इधर इतने सब इंटेलेक्चुअल आए थे, तो यहाँ चर्चा होनी चाहिए थी कि जो जेल में लोग हैं उनके बारे में क्या करना है। मुझे लगता है अगर सही मायने में साई बाबा को अगर श्रद्धांजलि अर्पण करना है, कुछ ये जो लोग जेल में हैं इनके बारे में कुछ ना कुछ एक चीज आज चर्चा होनी चाहिए। अगर हम लोग इकट्ठा आ ही गए हैं मृत्यु के बाद में किसी के, अभी ये 2-4 वकील लोग हैं, वो बेचारे लोग जाके उधर मर के काम करते हैं, उनको देखता हूं मैं तो मैं बोला ये अभी क्या है, कानून से तो छूटने वाला नहीं है। कानून क्या है, वो कानून से छोड़ने का प्रयास कर रहे, कानून से छूटेगा कितना। प्रेशर जब होगा, इस देश के इंटेलेक्चुअल्स है, इस देश के राइटर्स है, विचारवंत है, ये लोग अगर खड़ा होकर हम बोलेगा कि भाई हम संविधान, मैं तो संविधान का मूवमेंट चलाने वाला, मैं बाबा साहब का चेला हूँ, बाबा साहब के मूवमेंट में काम करता हूँ, और बाबा साहब ने हमको बताया कि जो हमारे जो डेमोक्रेटिक राइट्स है जो हमको दिए गए हैं उनके बारे में तो हम सजग रहना चाहिए। इसके लिए इतने खुलेपन से हम लोगों को इकट्ठा आना चाहिए। मैं साई बाबा को श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ। उसके पहले गोपाल नायडू करके हमारा एक दोस्त है, बहुत बड़ा स्कल्पचर करने वाला इंसान, मेरा बहुत नजदीकी दोस्त, और एक बहुत आदिवासी के बड़े नेता कालूराम गोगड़े, इनका भी गए हफ्ते में दोनों का भी एक साथ में न्यूज आया। मैं विदर्भ के दौरे पे था, मैं किसी के भी मैयत पे नहीं जा सका, मैं चंद्रपुर में था और गोपाल नायडू का नागपुर में हुआ, लेकिन मैं प्रोग्राम जो था उसके वजह से मैं किधर हिल नहीं सका, मुझे बहुत बुरा लगा। कालूराम और गोपाल ये दोनों महाराष्ट्र के गरीब लोगों के लड़ाई में एक राइटर है, एक स्कल्पचर कलाकार है और एक बहुत बड़ा एक्टिविस्ट है। कालू राम ने जो काम किया है भूमि सेना के माध्यम से, ये बहुत उसको मैं सैल्यूट करता हूँ। साई बाबा को सैल्यूट करता हूँ। और गोपाल तो मेरा बहुत जिगरी दोस्त था। वो नहीं है अभी, इसके लिए भी बहुत मतलब उसको भी सैल्यूट करता हूँ।
कांग्रेस साई को जय भीम लाल सलाम।
जय भीम लाल सलाम।
कांग्रेस साई को जय भीम लाल सलाम।
जय भीम लाल सलाम।
इनकलाब जिंदाबाद।
जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद।
इनकलाब जिंदाबाद।
जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद।
तो मैं कम्युनिस्ट गदर पार्टी की तरफ से we deeply mourn the passing away of GN Sai Baba. He dedicated his entire life to the cause of liberation of humanity from all forms of exploitation and oppression. He fought boldly with passion in defense of the rights of the people of our country against injustices they faced, and he was continuously targeted by the state office for his courageous stand. Professor Sai Baba's incarceration in jail was a message from those in power to all Indians who fight in defense of the right to conscience and other human rights. It's a threat that they should give up this struggle or face Sai Baba's fate. At the present time, hundreds of defenders of human rights are suffering in jails, जो सब लोग इधर में बात किया, charged under UAPA with waging war against the state. The Communist Gadar Party of India believes that no matter how much the Indian state tries to crush the voices of our people in defense of their rights, it will never succeed. The struggle of our people for their rights and for justice will continue. Inqilab Zindabad.
अभी हम एक छोटा सा क्लिप है जो चलाना चाहेंगे, जो वसंता और साई बाबा की एक छोटी सी डॉक्यूमेंट्री जैसी है, 5-7 मिनट की।
ये जो गाना है ये लोकशाहीर सागर गोरखे ने लिखा है और वो खुद भी अभी भीमा कोरेगांव केस में इम्प्रिजन्ड है। और ये जो जेल में डाल के लोगों को एक तरह से सड़ाने का, उनकी जिंदगी खत्म करने का काम है, उसके विरोध में उसके पूरी तरह से विरोध में ये गाना लिखा है।
या तुरुंगांच्या गजागजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, या तुरुंगांच्या गजागजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, रोखतील वळणाऱ्या मुठी कुठं एवढी हिम्मत र, या तुरुंगांच्या गजागजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, या तुरुंगांच्या गजागजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, रोखतील वळणाऱ्या मुठी कुठं एवढी हिम्मत र। इतिहासाची पान बघार रंगली आपल्या बंडान, बंडकऱ्यांना कैद करून जकडलं साखळ दंडान, बेड्या ठोकल्या सैनिक पोलीस मिलिटरीच्या गुंडान, बंड दडपण्या तुरुंग बनवले क्रूर सत्तेच्या गुंडान, या गुंडांच्या मनगटामध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, या गुंडांच्या मनगटामध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, रोखतील वळणाऱ्या मुठी कुठं एवढी हिम्मत र, या तुरुंगांच्या गजागजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, या तुरुंगांच्या गजागजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, रोखतील वळणाऱ्या मुठी कुठं एवढी हिम्मत र। बंदीवान अरे राजा उठ र, कडकडून डरकाळी दे, या तुरुंगांना सुरुंग लावण्या विद्रोहाची आळी दे, चलोट बंधू अन्यायाची करण्या आता गिनती रे, ढासळतील हे पुरुष धडाधड कोसळतील या भिंती रे, या भिंतींच्या थड्या थड्यामध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, या भिंतींच्या थड्या थड्यामध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, रोखतील जनतेचा रेटा कुठं एवढी हिंमत र, या तुरुंगांच्या गजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, या तुरुंगांच्या गजांमध्ये कुठं एवढी ताकद र, रोखतील वळणाऱ्या मुठ्ठी कुठं एवढी हिंमत र, रोखतील वळणाऱ्या मुठ्ठी कुठं एवढी हिंमत र, रोखतील वळणाऱ्या मुठ्ठी कुठं एवढी हिंमत र.